Going abroad, either for a holiday, wedding, or business, is an experience that most people cherish for the rest of their lives. Whether that's visiting landmarks, trying out unique cuisines, or surrounding yourself in that country's culture, whatever it is you decide to do on your trip, you're bound to have a fun time.
Fun.
However, preparing for these vacations can be a hassle. Booking trains or flights, sorting out where you're going to stay, taking time off work, it can be difficult at times. But one of the biggest annoyances when it comes to traveling overseas is exchanging your currency. It's hard enough finding a bureau to change with good rates. Knowing what good rates are is even more of a problem. Fortunately, for tourists and other travelers, there is a way to find out how much your money is actually worth and how far it'll get you in another country. The Big Mac Index. Yes, Big Mac, as in McDonald's Big Mac. It'll make a lot more sense after I explain it. The year is 1986, and a lot is going on across the world. Chernobyl had a meltdown. Lionel Richie was topping the charts. Ferris Bueller's Day Off was ruling the box office, and Argentina won the FIFA World Cup. The mid to late 80s was also a time where commercial air travel was becoming more affordable and popular across the world. More and more people were choosing to go abroad each year for holidays and special events, and the tourism industry saw a massive boom in this period. But since this was the first time a lot of people were traveling, many people didn't quite understand exchange rates and how much bang for their buck they got in other countries, especially if you're traveling from a country such as the US to a country like Japan, where $1 US equals 107 Japanese yen in 2020. One woman who recognized this problem was Pam Woodwall. At the time, she was working as a journalist for the British newsletter The Economist. She wanted to find a way to illustrate the PPP between two countries. PPP is short for Purchasing Power Parity and shows how much a specific good is worth in each country to determine the exchange rate. Woodwall thought that the ideal item to do this with would be a McDonald's Big Mac. It just makes sense. McDonald's is an international brand, and everyone can grasp the value of a simple burger. She also wanted something somewhat funny to use as a metric for exchange rates.
Oh, that's hot. That's hot.
And a beef burger seemed to fit the bill. The article was published in September of 1986 and was heavily praised by business professionals at the time and is still widely recognized as one of the best all-around measurements of PPP. The article is updated every year, showing how the exchange rates have changed over time while still offering accurate rates. However, there are quite a few limitations of the Big Mac Index, one of the biggest flaws being geographical coverage. Although it might seem like McDonald's is everywhere and inescapable at this point, there are a few places in the world where McDonald's has no presence whatsoever. A lot of countries in the Middle East, such as Iran, Afghanistan, Uzbekistan, and Tajikistan, don't have McDonald's restaurants. But this makes sense, as a few of these countries are currently at war with the US or each other. One big chunk of the world that is lacking any McDonald's representation is the continent of Africa. Only 3 African countries, Egypt, Morocco, and South Africa, have McDonald's out of the 54 countries within the continent. This is mainly due to a lot of African countries being LICs, low-income countries. McDonald's wouldn't be very successful in these poorer countries, as a lot of the citizens wouldn't be able to afford it. This made the Big Mac Index completely irrelevant in these regions. Another limitation was that different countries have different cultures. In places such as India, eating at a local restaurant was seen as the much more appealing option when it comes to going out for something to eat. Not only is McDonald's a completely different type of food, but local places tend to be cheaper, and so McDonald's was seen to be more expensive in comparison. This would drive up the PPP, even though the Big Mac is technically not more expensive. It just seems that way on a relative scale. But in India and other heavily Hindu countries, the Big Mac isn't actually available because beef and beef burgers aren't allowed to be eaten if you're Hindu, so this issue is somewhat canceled out. But now we're just left with the former issue. Despite these issues, economists still hold the Big Mac Index in high regard. Creating a system that measures PPP accurately is almost impossible, as not all items are available in all countries. The Big Mac Index is likely to be used for decades to come, seeing as McDonald's doesn't seem to be fading into irrelevance anytime soon.